guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing the Spring Has Sprung tag, and it is such a great moment to do this. It is currently Easter Sunday. The sun has been shining in the UK for the whole of the Easter weekend. I'm hoping it's going to shine again tomorrow because I'm going to be hopefully spending some time in the garden for the first time this year, and I'm really excited about that. But yeah, it's just been an absolutely beautiful weekend so far, and I feel like, yeah, finally spring is here. Thought this was a totally appropriate tag to do. And I was kindly tagged by Olive from abookolive. I will leave a link to her version of the video down below, and the original video is from The Naughty Librarian. I've not come across her channel before, and I'm looking forward to checking some of her videos out and just kind of seeing what her channel is like. So I will also leave a link to her original video down below as well. So there are 10 questions, so let's jump into the questions. Question number 1 is flowers. All the flowers we remember are blooming again. Pick a book that's a fresh take on a retelling. And for this one, I'm going to go with Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Haven't actually read an awful lot of retellings, but this one is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles series, and each book is a retelling of a different sort of fairy tale. So this one is obviously Cinderella, but they are sci-fi retellings. Cinderella is a cyborg in this, and yeah, they're really good. I've read books 1, 2 and 3 in this series, and I've really enjoyed them so far, so I've just got winter to go. They do get progressively bigger as you go along, so winter is a proper chunkster, but they have been really fun retellings, and I've really enjoyed being in this world. I'm not really a big sci-fi person, but this is YA sci-fi, so it's not quite as sort of heavy. I don't think the sci-fi is necessarily heavy, but I don't know, I think a lot of adult sci-fi is more yeah, stuff that I think of the word dark when I think of adult sci-fi basically, and I don't think it's for me. But anyway, really enjoyed this series so far and would definitely recommend it. Question number 2 is Cadbury Mini Eggs. Obviously the superior springtime candy of choice. Pick a book that you consider to be a sweet treat. And for this one, I'm going to be talking about Sleepless in Manhattan by Sarah Morgan. This is the first book in the From Manhattan with Love series. And I loved all of this series, but the first book holds a really special place in my heart just because it was obviously when I discovered the series and I fell in love with Sarah Morgan's writing, and I feel like I could go back to this book again, and even though I know what's going to happen, I would get just as much enjoyment out of it, because I really liked the characters and I really liked the writing, and it was just so fun, and yeah, it was a real sweet treat, so I would definitely recommend that one. Number 3 is Allergies. Seasonal allergies often make your eyes water. Yep, I get hay fever. Pick a book that made you cry. And there aren't many books that have made me cry, but the one I'm going to talk about today is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. This is a historical fiction novel set in Australia. It's about a couple who live on an island off the coast of West Australia, yeah, and they look after a lighthouse, and one day a boat washes up on the shore with a baby and a dead body in it, and it's all about the decision that they make to do with this baby and the consequences of that decision. Really compelling story, great characters, and the last chapter I just absolutely sobbed my way through, so yeah. Number 4 is Spring Cleaning. Out with the old and in with the new. Pick a book to unhaul. And I have actually recently done a tidy up of my shelves and got rid of a load of books. I haven't filmed an unhaul video just because sometimes I think they're a little bit boring in terms of these are a load of books that I'm not really interested in anymore. So yeah, I didn't bother with that. But I knew there were still books on my shelf that weren't favourites, and with the amount of space that we've got, I think my shelves are going to have to be in the future books that I consider to be favourites, that I want to reread, that I really loved, that sort of thing. So I was having another look earlier on, and I picked off Labyrinth by Kate Moss. This is a historical fiction novel set in two timelines. You've got a modern timeline of 2005 and you've got a historical timeline of 1209. And yeah, they're looking for the secrets of the Holy Grail, I think. I read this a long time ago, probably about 10 years ago now. I don't remember an awful lot of it. It's definitely not anything that I want to reread. I think this is the first book in I think it might be a trilogy. I don't really have any desire to continue on, so I thought, well, it's sort of pointless having the first book. Number 5 is Spring Break. It's the perfect time for an adventure. Pick a book involving a road trip. And for this one, I'm going to talk about The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I listened to this on audiobook last year and I really, really loved it. This is a YA historical fiction, I suppose, although it's not really historical fiction, but it sort of is. I don't really know how you classify it. But it's about two friends and well, it's about a group of 3 people who go on this sort of trip around Europe, and it's a chance for them to have some adventure and get away from their parents and things like that. And it sort of totally, I didn't really go into it thinking that I was going to really, really love it, and it totally blew me away in terms of the amount of diversity in there, the way it was really fast paced and had a lot of action and a lot of adventure in it, and it played around with some really serious issues, and I just really appreciated what Mackenzie Lee was doing. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it, and it's not necessarily like a car road trip in that kind of sense because of the historical timeline, but still a road trip nonetheless. Number 6 is a question that made me laugh. Is mating season. It's that time of year in the animal kingdom to make some babies. Pick a book with some smutty delights. So I'm going to talk about Royally Screwed by Emma Chase. This is a book that I read a couple of weeks ago now. It's the first book in the, I think it's called the Royal series or something like that, and I can't remember why I picked this up. I think I was just sort of scrolling through my Kindle and looking at books that I'd had on there for a while, and came across this one. I must have downloaded this at some point. That's a really obvious comment to make, but anyway. Yeah, so I decided to give it a go and I loved this book. So this is a story about 2 characters whose names I don't know. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. So it's Nicholas and Olivia, and Nicholas is the crowned prince of some sort of kingdom that doesn't exist in Scotland somewhere. I think that's where it is anyway. And he's next in line to the throne, and his grandmother is sort of pushing him to get married. And he goes away on business in New York to go and kind of discover where his brother is. And he meets Olivia, and Olivia is a waitress in a cafe that her family own. And it's about the relationship between the 2 of them, and it's both really, really sweet, but at the same time really, really spicy. The spicy scenes in here are really quite spicy, but it's brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to continue on in the series, and that's one that I would definitely recommend. Number 7 is Rainbows. I just feel like spring is made of freaking rainbows. Pick a book featuring an LGBTQ plus character. So I've gone for Things a Bright Girl Can Do by Sally Nichols. This is a YA historical fiction book that I read last year, and it follows 3 different girls, and they're all involved in the suffragette or suffragist movement in some sort of way. And there's a lesbian relationship between 2 of the girls in the book. And yeah, it was a brilliant book. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed reading about that kind of relationship, because I realised as I was sort of preparing my answers to these questions, there aren't an awful lot of books that I have read that feature those characters in that kind of category, which I really must remedy and read some more of. So if you've got any good recommendations, you know, thinking about like my reading taste and things, then yeah, please leave them in the comments down below. But yeah, Things a Bright Girl Can Do is a really good YA historical fiction read with some good LGBTQ plus characters. The next question was a bit myth-wise as well. So it says, so number 8 is Spring Awakening. This is one of my all-time favourite musicals, even though it's filled with completely dysfunctional characters. Pick a book that's also filled with completely dysfunctional characters. And I'd never heard of the musical Spring Awakening before. I don't know whether it's an older musical and it's just not been in London for a while or what, but yeah, I've never heard of it before. But anyway, I've gone for The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torrey, or basically any one of the books in the trilogy. This is the first book. This is a book that follows a woman who locks herself away in her apartment and never goes out because she has murderous thoughts. She thinks that if she goes out, she's just going to kill people, basically. So she's obviously very dysfunctional for that reason, and for a few other reasons as well. But then there are other characters in this book and in the rest of the series that are also highly dysfunctional. But I love this series. It's a series that features a lot of sex. So it's like an erotic thriller, they all are, but they're brilliant. Really, really enjoyed them, flew through them, and would definitely recommend the series. Okay, and I have no idea what the reference is in this question at all, but anyway, question number 9 is, in like a lion, out like a lamb, pick a book series that didn't get better as it progressed. I sort of get the reference about the lamb, but I don't get how lions are connected to spring. So if you know the answer to that, then you can leave that down below. So the series that I have gone for is the Selection series by Kira Cass. Books 1, 2 and 3, so these ones here, I really enjoyed. This is a YA sort of dystopian series where the world is split up into different castes. And I think there are 8 different castes, and you can't really move between them that easily. And the people that are in charge, the people that are on the throne, as it were, they have a selection series for, or a selection for their son to choose his wife, and they choose different people from different castes across the kingdom to come to the palace and sort of compete for his heart. And that premise doesn't sound particularly feminist, and it's not, but there are some quite feminist moments in here, and it's not a series that you would read because you want something feminist, but it's a series you read because you want something fun, basically. I really enjoyed the first 3 books, and then I've also got the short story bind up here, which wasn't too bad. I didn't particularly rate the last 2 books in the series. So these ones she wrote later, obviously, and these follow the next generation. And I found the main character in the Air especially quite bratty and just a bit unpleasant to follow, basically. So I didn't like those as much. But I would recommend reading the first 3. I did really enjoy those. And then question number 10 is Fun in the Sun, tag some friends. So I'm going to tag Karen from Rather Be Reading, Doris from All the Books, and Sarah from Steeped in Books. I will leave a link to all 3 of their channels down below so you can go and check them out. They are lovely ladies. If you haven't been watching their channels, then I don't know what you're doing with yourself, basically. So that's it for this video, guys. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. What were some of your answers to these questions? Have you read any of the books that I've talked about? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.